light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go, 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 go!
Hey everyone, welcome to the 5 Red Lights. My name is Aaron, and let's dive on in with some predictions for the Mexico City Grand Prix. So, this is the first of a triple header which will bring about the close of the season. 5 races remain, 3 in the next 3 weeks, which is Mexico City this weekend, then off to Sao Paulo, and then jet setting across the world, very eco-friendly wise, to Qatar, and then on to Saudi Arabia, which may or may not be built, and then the showpiece finale in Abu Dhabi. And at that point we will then have a world champion. Will we have an 8-time world champion in Lewis Hamilton, or will we have a first-time champion in Max Verstappen? Personally, it's looking very much like Max is going to be number 1 this year, because that win in Austin has set him up to be in a tremendous position to clinch his maiden Formula 1 World Championship. It's going to be very difficult for Lewis to wrestle control back in just pure racing terms. Especially starting with Mexico, it's been a Red Bull track for many of the previous visits there. Obviously, we didn't race there last year, and the 2 qualifying sessions before that, Red Bull had the fastest lap time at the end of Q3. Now, they didn't have pole position come Sunday on both occasions. Max Verstappen actually on neither occasion. He was beaten to it in 2018 by his then teammate Daniel Ricciardo. So look out for him this weekend, because he's got previous, of course, around the Mexico City circuit. And then Max did take the number 1 spot on the Saturday, but then he fell foul of the double wave yellow flag rule after Valtteri Bottas crashed and was demoted back to 4th. So Max does have 2 wins here still in 2017 and 2018, where he did beat Daniel off the line. Lewis as well has 2 wins in 2016 and in 2019. His 2019 win is quite significant, I think, because it shows that strategy can be a big driver in the way this race pans out. The undercut or even the overcut can be quite powerful. Overtaking can be done because there's that massive straight down to turn 1. And of course, you've got to factor that into the start as well, and I'll get onto this in my qualifying predictions in a moment. But overall, I think this is going to be a Red Bull track. I think they're going to have the fastest car. And obviously, they've got one fired up driver in one of their cars, because it's his home Grand Prix. Sergio Perez has a potential opportunity to win this race. If he does a good job and Max has a little bit of a wild weekend, like he has done on a couple of occasions in Mexico, we could see a home win for Checo. All things being straightforward, though, I don't see that happening. I don't see him outperforming Max in the same equipment on a track where Red Bull are very likely to have the strongest package by maybe as much as half a second. We could see a margin of that sort of margin. Who else is going to be in the fray? Well, obviously Mercedes will be there. Mercedes-powered McLaren and Ferrari could also be in with a shout. Ferrari did really well around Monaco, and they've got extra power from their new upgraded engine, so don't be surprised to see them doing very well with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, who are both driving superbly at the moment. They're both in form, and Ferrari are on the rise. McLaren are looking over their shoulders, especially after being beaten pretty handily in America. Let's get into some predictions then. Let's go with qualifying to begin, and I'm going to go with Max Verstappen on pole position, and alongside him is going to be Sergio Perez. I think it's going to be a Red Bull front row. I don't think we've had an all Red Bull front row this season. Correct me if I'm wrong. We may have. But obviously Sergio did have his second place at Imola. I can't remember him being on the front row any other point in the season. But Max has got multiple pole positions this season. I think he's going to add another one to his collection this weekend. And behind them, well, I think Lewis Hamilton will qualify 3rd. I think he'll do something Lewis Hamilton-esque. He's one of those drivers. You know, you don't win 7 world championships by accident with 100 poles and 100 wins without being able to deliver when it really matters. Lewis is going to deliver something, I think, but just keep an eye out on those Ferraris, maybe even Lando Norris or Daniel Ricciardo. And I'm going to mention as well the Alpha Tauris, and I'll come on to those in a moment when I give them as my team to watch. But look out for them as well. Now, Lewis qualifying 3rd could be really important. they couldn't get the rear damper system to be perfect in America because the COTA track was so bumpy, so that they'd have been riding too low, and it would have unsettled the car. The Mexico track, I think, is a little bit smoother. Obviously, we haven't seen anything yet. No wheel has been turned in anger. This is being recorded before practice, so we'll wait and see. It could be a valley of mini hills or something down the straight. Who knows? But if Mercedes can get that car to squat basically at the back and get the extra top speed and drag benefits that brings them, starting third might be a good place for Lewis. Because if you think about in Sochi, the run down to turn 1 is so big. Well, the first braking zone, actually, they go through that right-hand kink, don't they? Down to turn 2, the big braking zone. And it's very similar in Mexico. It's a long run down to the 3-corner opening section. And if you can get a good run and position yourself well, you can really take control of the race. So Lewis might be looking for something like that, where he gets a nice big toe off of the Red Bulls in front, and then maybe hangs it out around the outside and pinches the apex for turn 2, and then claims turn 3 as his own. Wait and see. It could be an exciting start to the race if that is how they line up. As for the race, if, as all things be normal, like I just said, anything can happen at the start, but you'd have to assume that Max Verstappen is going to come out on top. He's been delivering all season, and he delivered again in Austin, and I see no reason why he won't do it again in Mexico. He's been through that learning phase of making mistakes, and this year he's just been more complete than he's ever been at any point in his career so far, and he's up against the toughest opponent in recent history in Formula 1 in Lewis Hamilton. So I'm going for Max to win the race, and I'm going to go with Lewis on the podium in second. I think Mercedes will just find a way to get him past Sergio. To be honest, I can't see Sergio winning this race, but I could see him definitely taking a podium in his home race. But the way these things pan out usually, it has a really cruel way of Sergio will have a DNF or something. Think Daniel Ricciardo in Australia never really gets the rub of the green. Mark Webber was the same. The only two people who seem to get the rub of the green in their home races are Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, because let's face it, they're just fantastic. And Charles Leclerc at Monaco, yet to finish a Monaco Grand Prix in his Formula 1 career. Third on the podium, then I'm going to give it to Sergio, because that's kind of what my heart wants. I want to see Sergio on that podium in the stadium. There it is. It'll just be an amazing atmosphere to see a Mexican driver on the podium at the Mexican Grand Prix. Now, my team to watch this weekend are AlphaTauri, because the Honda power unit works much better than the Mercedes power unit at higher altitudes. So you've got Alpine and Aston Martin as their direct competition. I don't see Alpine being consistent around this circuit. They might have a section where they're good, and then the rest of it they're kind of lagging behind a little bit. Aston Martin are, again, slightly all over the place. They'll probably be quite quick down the straights, but they'll lose so much time through the corners. And the Mercedes power unit is not going to be too helpful compared to the Honda power unit. And obviously the AlphaTauri is very conceptually similar to the Red Bull. So if Red Bull are fast, theory suggests that AlphaTauri should be fast. And of course, Pierre Gasly has been performing minor miracles this season with his qualifying performances, so don't be surprised if in fact he pips Lewis to third on the grid. Pierre has got so much talent and so much pace, and he's so comfortable in that AlphaTauri car. Could he, if the conditions are correct and the AlphaTauri performs as I think it might around this circuit, could he grab a front row? And if Max or someone else gets it wrong, is Pierre Gasly an outside bet for pole position? Let me know in the comments if you think I'm just talking cobblers and I'm going completely balmy, or if you think that Pierre Gasly has a legitimate shot at a top 3 qualifying position and is a far bet for the pole position if things go his way. And of course, he's not the only driver doing well at the moment in an AlphaTauri. Yuki Tsunoda bagged some points in Texas and seems to be getting things together. This will be a real test. If the AlphaTauri, like the Red Bull, is on form, how much can Yuki exploit of that? And this is a track I don't think he will have been to in his career so far, even in the junior formula. So it might be asking a bit too much of him to deliver at the standard of Pierre Gasly. But if he can continue that good form and build the momentum, and momentum is everything in Formula 1. If you've got momentum, you've got kudos, you've got gravitas. People will want to talk to you, people will want to look at you and help you, and if you're not performing, it kind of goes the other way. It's a very double-edged sword with Formula 1. If you're doing well, you do better. If you're not doing well, you do worse. Just look at Alex Albon in the Red Bull last year. He was really struggling, and it just spiraled out of control for him. Yuki needs to capitalise on this good momentum and make it into something positive, ready for 2022, because that's his make or break year. I mean, we've seen Red Bull just drop drivers mid-season, no questions asked, and they don't always come back. So, somewhere in the wilderness, Helmut Marko has got a forest full of former Red Bull Academy prospects or Red Bull drivers. Just think Jean-Eric Vergne and Sebastian Buemi. So look out for the AlphaTauris. It's going to be a wild weekend in Mexico. Now, I'm going to be going live ahead of the Grand Prix on Sunday afternoon. I'll discuss qualifying and my thoughts ahead of the race. And given the time zones and work schedules, because unfortunately this isn't my job, which I would love it to be, the race recap may have to be a little bit later in the week, or it might just simply be an audio version, depending on what I can get time to record. So yeah, that will have to be it for today. They are my predictions. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Pierre Gasly the outside bet for pole position or a top 3 spot? And who do you think is going to win this weekend's Mexico City Grand Prix? So that's it for today on the 5 Road Lights. My name's Aaron. I'll see you for the Mexico City warm-up on Sunday afternoon. And until the 5 Road Lights go out, I'll see you then. Bye for now.